Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. I mean, we have a few people coming to on site, and then we have some people online. So let's start. 4 minutes after past 1 o'clock already. So I would like to ask a question. How many people have invested in real estate?
Me.
Me, okay. Anybody else online? So have you invested in single family, rental, or maybe a condo? No? Probably I think a lot of people who invest in single family, it's a rental. And we have someone here, they have done the flip, and then they also did some land, right? And I would like to ask a question about how do you feel when you were doing the flipping? How much work? Yeah, how much work have you done on each house?
A lot of work.
A lot of work.
Yeah.
Were you full-time before?
I spent a lot of time, I wasn't full-time flipping, but, it is a full-time job.
Yeah. And then how many flipping have you done each year?
I flipped, I think, 6 houses.
Per year?
No, it's in total.
In total?
Yeah.
Yeah. I heard somebody that they could do like the maximum I've heard that they did 50 houses a year. 50, but they had a team.
Yeah.
Like a few crews that they do all those flipping themselves, but he had to monitor them a lot himself. Like he also had a few like supervisors on different spots just to check all those flipping work every day. Just yes. So it's kind of like a full-time job.
It is.
Yes. So if you don't have enough time, then you probably couldn't do that much, right? So we had some single families in 2015 and 2016, 2017. We own up to 16 rental properties, but most of them we just fix them and then rent them to the long-term resident. We did couple flippings and it didn't work out very well for us at all. I guess that at that time we didn't know how to do flipping, and I was a stay-in-home mom, and I didn't have enough time to do so. But in the meantime, we also invest in multifamily as a LP limit partner. So we were able to invest a few of them, and that produced us some true passive income to us while I was doing some flippings or rental single family houses. So we just dive in about like how we started, right? So in 2017, we got our first syndication on multifamily. That was a 50 unit. So we spent 3 years to get up to 16 rental single family houses, and we didn't spend that much time. I mean, while the looking time, it was a little bit longer. It took us about close to 2 years to get the first 50 unit, and we closed that one beginning of January 2017, and then end of 2017 we got another 44 unit. So just like less than a year, we went from 16 to 94 units. And from 2018, we got another 144 units with our investors. And then 2019, we got 2 properties. One was a 52 unit, and then the other one was a 77. So 2019, there was similar like 2018, but 2 properties just make us to more than 100 units. And then in 2020, we got another 128 units. But 2021, we were able to partner with our partners and our investors, and we closed more than 1,500 units. So imagine, like, if we were still doing single families, I know, probably like with those years, probably would be only able to do maybe 100 units, right? 100 single family houses, but it probably would take us 5 years, maybe even 7 years. But with the multifamily, you can scale up. You can do a lot of more units in a shorter time. And that's like after we've done about 4 years of multifamily, we sold all our single families. We sold all of them in 2019, 2020. The last one, just because of, the COVID, and then their financing took a little bit longer. So the last one we closed was in February 2021. And on that time, we all into multifamily. That's how we could build up our portfolio in 1 year for 1,500 units, just because I didn't have to spend time managing the residents in the single families. And I didn't have to spend time when they had like maybe a backup on the bathroom or leaking, or the AC was not working during the weekend or even midnight or maybe 2 a.m. while you were sleeping on vacation. So we had enough time and we had enough money to scale up just in 1 year. So far, we've involved in 4,300 unit in multifamily. It took us, I would say, about a little bit more than 8 years since we started as an GP. So think about that, like if you were still doing a single families rental, or even you would just flip those houses, you are not able to do that. Like I just said, the people that I saw so far, or I met so far, that their maximum was 50 houses in a year. And that took them a lot of work. But with the multifamily, we are able to use the whole team, like property managers or maintenance team, just to help you to do a lot of those work, right? Right now we have a lot of property managers, and we also have regional managers to manage all these property managers, and we have supervisors for the maintenance. And all we need to do is just manage our regional managers and our supervisors. That reduce a lot of work for us too, so we can spend more time to do. Find a multifamily better deals to invest, instead of I'm spending a lot of time just to monitor our contractors doing the job in the single families, right? So what is multifamily? A lot of people, I think they have done some duplex, triplex, or fourplex. So some people think those are multifamilies. Actually, they are residential properties, because they couldn't get this, like the value they couldn't get with like the multifamily, that if you increase your NOI, then the value of the property would get higher. And then also on the financing side, that you still get the residential financing rate. So probably a lot of people, you already know that you can get lower interest rate on the multifamilies than the single families or duplex or triplex or fourplex. And the process, all the documents on financing to the multifamily is a little bit easier than single families. I remember that I had to sign a lot of documents when we were doing single families, right? They take a lot of time to verify your documents, process the financing. But multifamily, all the lenders they see is the deal. If the deals make sense, if the deal produce enough income, and the location, of course, like all the other real estate. So they see the NOI more than actual the value of any properties nearby. So that's a different from the multifamily to the single family houses. So why is it a stronger investment strategy? Like we say that we can scale up easily, faster than single families, and we can use professional team to free up our time. We don't need to spend our time ourselves, because when you have some single families, I did use some property management to manage them, but a lot of time, the property management still call you, or even they get my contact number to the resident, so they can call me directly, and I had to pick up phone calls.
all the time.
Yeah, all the time. My bathroom is not working, or my sink got clogged, or something like that. So I had to answer those phone calls. I cannot relax like over the weekend or on vacation. I had to make sure that my phone is full, and I won't miss any phone calls, just in case there's some really bad situation happened to the property and I couldn't make any decision or arrange somebody to handle that on time. So when we were doing the multifamily versus the flipping, on multifamily, that we could. So let's think about that. When we have one single family rental, if we couldn't rent this house out for a month or 2 months, what's your risk? What's your loss on the rent? 100%, right? So you lost the whole month of rent or 2 months of rent, and you still, if you have a mortgage, you still have to pay your mortgage, pay your note. Now, multifamily, if you have 10 units, you have 1 or 2 that you couldn't rent out in a month or 2, then you still have 80% or 90% rent out, and that could cover your note, your expenses, instead of you have to pay the notes or any of the maintenance out of your own pocket, right? So that's also cover the cash flow from multifamily and single family. So we just said probably like in Houston, if you buy a 10 units, it might, I don't know if we still can buy like 10 units with 500K, but back then, 2016, 2017, we were able to find something like that. And then there were a lot of houses, maybe you can only buy 2 or 3 with 500K, right? So compared to 10 units and 2 or 3 units, then you have better cash flow from the 10 unit than the 2 or 3 units. And you can manage them together. It's a lot of time there are a lot of people when they invest in single families, it's hard for us to find like 2 or 10 units in the same community, right? They might be like in this location, you get 1 or 2, maybe you get another one 20 minutes away or even half an hour, or like in Houston, sometimes it's in 1 hour away. I remember that we had some single family in Conroe, and I had some in Spring, and we had some in near the I-10 and Highway 6 area, Bear Creek area. So they were like different locations everywhere. If there was anything, I mean, it happened in two of the locations that I had to drive 1 hour one way just to get to another house to see what's going on. And because sometimes like I cannot send the handyman on a Sunday. Nobody would pick up my phone call. Then I had to handle that myself, or my husband. I had to send him to do the job just to fix the issue. But on the multifamily, we can have 10 units in one location. We can have 200 units in one location. And we have the maintenance team to do that. And they don't need to travel a lot. So we can save time on the traveling time, because handyman or any of the maintenance people, no matter if they're walking or driving to work for you, you still have to pay for them. So on the cost of the maintenance, the multifamily will save you cost, lower your expenses cost. Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Like now we have our maintenance team. We do a lot of jobs in-house. Then most of the time, I still have to make sure that my phone is on. But a lot of time that my team will handle that. I don't need to be so stressful that if my phone is not on, nobody would handle if there's anything happen like leaking, like plumbing issue or HVAC issue. And most of the time, unless that they don't know how to handle it, otherwise they will take care of that. I don't have to answer my phone during the midnight or over the weekend. Now we can have time, maybe I can travel for 2 weeks or 3 weeks, or even I work remotely. I have people to work for us. So that free our time as well. So just like I ask everybody, if you guys have any single family experience yet, a lot of people, I think they join today, they have some single family or even fourplex experience already. So who should start multifamily? A lot of people probably like to own a single family themselves when they just started. But some people, they started and they just try and they really didn't like it. Like I said, you have to answer phone calls or handle all kinds of maintenance issue all by yourself. And you have to call the contractors to handle those issues, especially for people who are really busy, like the high net worth people, high income W-2s, right? It's hard for them to do all the rentals themselves or even fix flip. So it would be like a better idea for this group of people that you can consider about the multifamily investment instead of doing all on your own. And then also for some people that they want to free up your time, then think about getting a bigger complex. Then you can hire experienced people to manage the property for you instead of you spending all your time doing that yourself. So for any new investors who want to start on multifamily, what I would suggest is get something like maybe 5 to 50 units to start if you want to start on your own, or maybe you find a few partners that you want to work together, then this will be a good number. I feel like the smaller that you do or start, then you will don't a lot of people probably will feel like, oh, I'm so stressful just because it's too big. Then start with something a little bit smaller. Then if you have to do it yourself, then you have enough time and enough experience just to start something from smaller instead of getting like, oh, you haven't started yet, but you will get a 100 unit, right? That would be more complicated and required a little bit more experience. I feel like the most easier one for any new investor would be like from 20 to 30 unit. If you got a 50 unit or 40, something like that to 50, it's still like a smaller complex and it's hard to hire full-time manager, full-time maintenance. And most of the time from our experience, because I had experience on a 50 or 40 unit, and we had some part-time people, but the reason they came to your property or smaller property like this is they probably didn't have enough experience too. They want to have the opportunity to learn from you, from your property. So maybe after you train them for a few months and they can get a full-time job, unless you have other properties around. You have big enough property, enough units to hire them as a full-time job. So think about this too when you want to start something smaller. And if people quit on you because you are not able to hire them full-time, and on the 20 to 30 unit, it will be also easier for yourself too. Yes?
How many units would justify a full-time management team?
Good question. Her question was how many units would you be able to afford, or would the property be able to afford a full-time manager or maintenance, right? So in Texas, I would say, or anywhere similar, like here in Texas, 75 to 100 could afford one full-time property manager and one full-time maintenance. If anything smaller than that, like maybe 60 to 75, if you want to free up your time, you could hire full-time as well, but that would increase the cost on your management and that would lower your NOI, your net operating income. So if you are not like if you don't plan to sell the property in a short time, it's okay too, because you free up your time and you maybe can work on something else that because the value of your time is higher than you to work on the property yourself, right? For example, you pay a property manager maybe $20 or $30 per hour, but the value of your time is 50, 100 per hour. You can produce $50 to 100, then it's worth for you to use somebody who just charge you $30 or even 35 to work for you. Yes?
Did you take any courses to kind of get like basic foundation background of property management, even though you are not going to do it? Or do you just rely solely on the company that you hire and whatnot? How do you?
Yeah, okay, good question. So her question was if I get any education to learn how to manage the property, or I just rely on the experience of the management company, right? That the experience they have to manage my property. So depends. If you're going to manage yourself, I would suggest that get some education is not a bad idea, right? So everywhere you can find the apartment association. They offer the camp certification for you to learn some basic experience or knowledge on how to manage a property. CAM means a certificate of apartment manager. So you can learn some basic information or knowledge to start managing your own property. Even you are not managing yourself, it's still a good idea for you to learn something, and you can see if they do something right or they should like something that the property manager they shouldn't do, then you know how to correct them, or how you need to adjust while they are managing your property. Even you are using a third-party management company, I mean, if you the more you learn or the more you know, then the better you will know if they do the right thing or wrong thing to your property, right? Because that's your investment. And we did use some of the third party before, and a lot of time that maybe you need to like guide them how to do better for your management, your property, because they charge just a few percent on your property. Probably they won't work as hard as you do as well. So, but on the multifamily, sometimes your lender probably would require you to use a third-party management just because you don't have experience. And if you don't use somebody like a third-party management company, then they won't give you any financing. So really depends, but either way, I suggest to get some
And you said-
education.
And where is the resource? You said like just
Uh,
local.
Yeah, if you go like Houston Apartment Association, you can find there. Or if you are in some other states or other cities, just go Apartment Association. You will find your local apartment association and you can get some education. Yeah, they can have some course that probably will show you how to manage your property. So, okay, when you are doing your multifamily, a lot of time, except like some people, they have a lot of fund or a lot of money to invest. A lot of investors that they cannot get a lot of deals or too big when they just start, right? So from my experience for almost 10 years on multifamily, the best way is to get involved with somebody, partner with somebody, or just start as an LP or co-GP or something like that. So you can find some members or they already have some experienced players to work with you. So you can like scale their knowledge, their experience, even their network to grow yourself. So build a team or join somebody if you want to learn from them. So how do you get to multifamily investment? Set up your goal. Like, for example, 2025, how many units you would like to get, or how big is the property you would like to get, or where's the location, where the location is. So set up your goal, and then you can choose how big you want to do in this 2025, or how many units you want to be able to get involved in the next 2 years, 3 years, even 5 years. Just set up your goal, and it will be better assist you to find your first deal, or how you would like to work with the other people to get involved in your first deal. And then find and analyze deals. That's not an easy part for a new investor. So if you want to do that, go to a lot of networking events. So that would help you to find some deals, and you can get some information, and you learn how to analyze your deal or find your first deal. And then if you, like I said, a lot of people don't have enough money to do a bigger deal. So how are you going to get your fund to do your first deal? Do you have a partner? If you're going to do a bigger deal, then the fund, you can afford to do it yourself. Or how are you going to join somebody that you would help them to get their deal done for just providing some fund to them? So just get your feet wet. Start from a small step, and then you'll get a bigger step in the future. And when you go to some of the groups or the other experienced team, then just let them know what kind of value you can provide to them, right? Like Tom, that he has a construction background, then maybe say, hey, in the future, if you get your deal, then I can help you, or I have source to let you get some better price on the material. Or we know a team that can get the renovation done with better price. So this is a value people can add to the others. So we can just have ourselves prepared or better to join other team, especially for the people that already got a lot of experience. The way they would like to work with you is like how I can get some value from you. Or some people, they're really good on like finding the funds for the project. That's part of the value too. Or somebody who know about how to do asset management or property management. If they know this, or just let them know, let the other people know what kind of value you're good at, and or what kind of value you can provide to the other team. And once you get more experience, 1 year later or 2 years later, you can build up your own team and do your own project. So we already dive into like scale from a smaller property if you just start, and don't jump into too big when you still haven't get enough experience on multifamily, because you get too big, then a lot of time if you don't know how to run the deal will fail. So you don't want to get yourself into that kind of situation. So smaller would be a easier start for a lot of people, unless you have some experienced partners to show you the way. So funding your own money, or you find partners and mortgage loans to make your deal done, to close your deal. And then renovation and management. So that's part of the value that we can create, or we can maintain our deals. That's after closing is the renovation and management. A lot of times, so especially in the past 2 or 3 years, a lot of people, a lot of the investors, they got some deals in last couple 2 or 3 years that they got too big, either too big or they didn't spend enough time on their management renovation after the deals closed, and a lot of deals got foreclosed. So know how and know who can do this. It's so important for you, for your investment as well, because some of the deals, if you don't do well, then probably you cannot survive for too long if you're running out of your like the fund, right? If your property cannot produce enough income, or produce enough income to cover all the expenses, then the deal cannot survive too long. Yeah, the management, asset management or property management after closing the deal is the most important part for the investment, if they're going to make money or they're going to lose money. So yeah, how can we find if a deal is a good deal or a bad deal? So most of the time, the location is very important too. Like all the other real estates, location is so important, but not all the time, because we also invest in some very small cities where the population is not as huge as the other properties, but those properties produce really good cash flow for ourselves. I remember the first deal we went to in Kentucky. And it's a very small town. It's about like an hour drive to the main city there, and the population is not that good. But that yield still produce us like 8 to 10% cash flow still till now, from 2018 to now. So the main key is do your homework, do your due diligence, because this city is small, but they have a lot of people just like driving to the big cities just because the expenses, the living expenses in this one, even the housing expenses is way much lower than the biggest city. So a lot of people, they are willing to drive that far just to live there, and it could produce good cash flow to our property. And that's part of the demand too, right? So even the population there is smaller, but the demand is there. So we can keep higher occupancy, we can still produce enough income to make us money. And then we also need to do our due diligence on the rent rate or the vacancy rate. Like right now in Texas market, San Antonio, also Austin, and then Dallas too, even in Houston, just because there are so many new constructions coming out each month in the past couple years, and a lot of properties, they are struggling on their occupancy and the rent. Remember that during the COVID time, a lot of area, not just in Texas, but a lot of the other states too, we were able to increase rents like 10%, 20%. Some area we can even increase higher. But now in a lot of the cities, especially in the states that they had a lot of new constructions coming out, like in Texas, Arizona, Florida. Actually, they cannot increase their rent that much. Some of the properties, they even need to lower their rent right now just to increase the occupancy. So that's some of the homework that we have to do when we are looking for a deal, or if we found a deal. Yes.
So given your experience and you have like a lot of properties,
Mhm.
and I know it's subject to state and
Yeah.
location, things like that, but just in general,
Yeah.
let's say hypothetically, you're looking at an apartment complex of 100 unit.
Yeah.
If you were to look at your profit and loss analysis and
Mhm.
looking at your expense and your income,
Mhm.
how much of that 100 unit need to be occupied for you to see profit? Or vice versa, how vacant can it be? Like, what's a break
even.
break even?
So because like different states or different cities, they are all different, right? So most of the properties, the average expenses is about 50%. Some of the area, they could be like a little bit lower, around 45. Some of the states or cities, they could be up to 55% or 53%. So you hear that? you'll even they're vacant, there's expenses too, right? Those units, if they're vacant, you probably need to do repair, or you have like the electricity bills that you have to pay, and other expenses, mortgage too, right? Insurance, property tax, you still need to pay, no matter if they're occupied or vacant. So you need to think about that. So pretty much, I think at this, a lot of the area or cities, I think like you need to at least 50 or 55% occupied to break even. Yeah.
And what is a healthy return? Like, what would you consider a healthy profit? If you're looking at deals, you're like, this doesn't look healthy.
Mm.
What would be considered a healthy return?
Just, I think that would
I
I
know
would
it's
say,
tough.
yeah, it's hard,
That's
but
not a good question.
yeah, also like some people, some of the people, they don't just invest on the cash flow. Some of the property, maybe there's a potential of appreciation at the end. So some people, they would invest on some of the property, even there's no cash flow or return during the operation. But some people, they rely on the cash flow each month. So you should set up your criteria yourself, like, oh, do I want to invest something that produce 5% cash flow per year? Or I would like to invest something that can produce 8% per year. Some people may be like, oh no, they're not good enough for me. I would like to have 10%. But right now, like especially this year, it's hard to find something that meets 10% cash flow. Most of the time, probably about 5 this year, a lot of the properties. So, and then some people, a lot of the high net worth people, high W-2 income people, they care more about the depreciation on their investment, because on the multifamily, you get the big, like the cost segregation. The depreciation is huge for them. And they probably invest K on a multifamily, and they will get maybe 50K, maybe not this much this year, but for example, 40K this year on paper loss to their investment. Then they can use this to write off their other income just to lower their tax rate. So some people, they don't care about like how much cash flow I can get from an investment, but they see how much paper loss I can get on the investment they invest in. So set up your own criteria, investment criteria. And if they meet your investment criteria, then probably it's a good deal. But if they don't meet your investment criteria, it doesn't mean it's a bad deal, but just maybe it doesn't fit your criteria. Some investors, they like that. Yeah. I know, does that like answer your question?
Your question is too general.
Yeah, it
There's
is.
a lot of ways to.
Yeah.
Thank
you.
What is considered healthy?
Yeah,
So there's people go in to do a value add to sell it to make money, or they're going in for
cash flow. Yeah,
or people
all
going
the
in
paper loss
paper loss
to, yeah,
or what people-
lower their
there's
income
different-
tax rate. Also, like when you talk about if this like the income or the expenses, it's healthy enough to make this property or investment look healthy. Well, if there's no cash flow and you don't see any of the value appreciation in the future, probably it's not a good deal or a healthy deal, right? So on some of the deal, some people lose money for sure. Some people even lose 100% of their investment. So that's part of the due diligence you need to do. For example, if somebody said, hey, I bought this property or this apartment, I paid 100K per unit right now. But their market rent is on the top, is on the market rate ceiling already. Then they're telling you like, oh, I'm going to increase 20% of the rent each year or something. That doesn't make too much sense, right? So that means like they cannot produce, they cannot increase the value of the property. And they tell you like, I'm going to sell it at 200,000 per unit 5 years later. And where do you see the value? There's no way to bring the value to add to this property. Then probably you would reconsider about that. Would that make sense? Or could that be possible? Yeah. So most of the time, unless there's a value add there, and you can easily see like you can create a value Otherwise, if there's negative cash flow, you would need to rethink about that. We've done a deal that back in 2020, we closed that just right before the lockdown of the COVID. And that property, when we got it, the physical occupancy was 65%. And economic occupancy probably is about 50%. And we already knew that we have a lot of value to bring to this property. Either way, if we don't increase the rent, we just increase the occupancy, then we can create value, right? And of course, in the first 1 or 2 years, there would be no cash flow. At the very beginning, there will be just negative because just like I said, at this you need to have 50% occupancy. You need to collect at least 50% of the unit to be able to break even. And that time, that was the situation, and we had to spend a lot of capital on the renovation to improve the conditions of the whole property, no matter exterior or interior. So there's negative cash flow, but we knew that we can create the value. So we bring the occupancy up to 95%, and then we also increase the rent, even those existing residents, or replace them by 20, 30, some of them even 40% on the rent, because some of the unit, the rent was like about 500, 600, and when we sold it, the rent was 900, 950, even 995, right? We were able to create the value there. So we know this is a healthy deal, the deal we can make money at the end. But if some of the deals that their occupancy is very high already, and their rent already meets the market rent ceiling, there's no way for you to create value. Then if the cash flow is negative or break even, then that's not a good deal. Answer your question?
Yeah.
So, and then also you already asked about the operating expenses. I think what I just show or what I just talk about is pretty
about
much like, yeah, about 50% in a lot of area, but that's not just on all of them. Some of, like in Mississippi, our operation expenses is a little bit lower, about 45, 46. And, some area it could be higher, 53, 55. I also saw some of like 56, but, just depending on the location or area. And also probably like Class A property might be a little bit higher just because you have to, I would say, make the residents satisfied or entertain them. So you have all the other extra costs just to make the operation smoother. Yeah. So funding, if we don't have enough fund to do a deal ourselves, then we need to know where or how we can get the other fund to close a deal. Or sometimes then we need to make our first deal smaller if we couldn't find enough fund to close the deal, right? And if you couldn't, then find your partners to do the deals with you. And on multifamily, it's not like single family that, okay, I have enough W-2 income, I have enough down payment, then I just go to the bank and then they will approve the loan for us. So on multifamily, especially on the agency loan like Fannie or Freddie, then most of the time, not most, that's in all the case that they require you have enough experience on investing, the multifamily experience on asset management and experience on property management, right? Like I said, like earlier, not all the lenders let you manage your property yourself when you just started. Our first one, we had to use a third party just because we did have, I managed 16 single family myself, but the lender don't consider that my experience on property management.
Different.
Yeah, it's totally different. Managing the resident or daily operation of a multifamily is totally different on the single family. So they don't consider you experienced. So we have to find a third-party
How long did
management.
your lender require the third party to stay as the property management? Not that you want to, but
Mhm.
it's one thing to hire a third party. You should also know what they're doing right and wrong. But how long does the lender require that?
Well, they don't have a time, but if you change your third party, you have to apply. You need to let them know. They do the audit every year. So if you change your third party, you need to let them know and they need to approve it. If they are not qualified, if the third party management you find, the new one you found don't meet their requirements, then they won't approve that. So they need to pass their approval too. And sometimes we did ourselves that on our second deal, we found a partner that he was maybe more than 10 years experience already. He managed the property himself. He has a property management company himself, and he have invest in a lot of deals himself with the partners. So we found him to be our partner to sign the loan documents and to sign the qualification on their third-party management. And then just
You didn't have to anymore.
yeah, I didn't have to, but actually I was the one managing the property myself because my partner let me do it because he already knew that I learned something. I got some education, and I also previously I did some of the management, even like my first one, I used a third-party management, but I assist them to do the property management. So even though I was not super experienced yet, but I had some, and then I had this second deal that I can learn. And if there's anything that I didn't understand, I know who I can reach out to, right? My partner. I can ask him what I need to do, what kind of situation happened to my property or to me or to any of the residents, or anything that I don't know, then I can reach out to him, right? Yeah. So there's no they don't put any term, but most of the time that the property management agreement you sign with the third party is a 12 months contract. But of course, there's terms that the lender also check your property management agreement too. If there are some terms that they don't like, for example, like if the property management companies that on the term that you have to lock this agreement for 12 months and you cannot change anything, they don't like either. They would have you to get a more flexible terms on that, just because what if this third party management company, they don't work out. Yeah, of course they charge too much, but a lot of times it's like they don't do stuff, but they're still charging you, right? That's
Oh.
happened to a lot of third party management company. And you want yourself, or the lender wants yourself to be able to get out of the contract. Yeah, terminate the contract with as low cost as you could. So just, yeah, read the agreements and then work out with your lender. Yeah. So anyway, no matter on the funding or your experience or anything else, if you don't have enough, in the multifamily industry, it's kind of like a relationship business. If you don't have those experience, if you don't have enough funding, you always can find a partner as long as, you know, you can provide value to them or they can provide value to you. Then you can always work out together to get a bigger deal.
Teamwork.
Teamwork, and then scale other people's
Money.
money, experience, networks, everything, network. So you can scale yourself
Both
up to.
network too, and
Exactly, that's how it works in multifamily.
the teamwork and.
Yeah, it's a teamwork.
Can't do everything by yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. So, you know, build your team is not just like after you close a deal, you know, you need your property management company or your own property manager. That's part of your team is very important too, because if like this would also affect the value or the return of your investment. If you don't have a good manager, if you don't have a good property management company, probably you won't be able to get as much return as you wish or you plan. And then also the GC, the contractors, if you don't find a good contractors to, you know, control the cost of your CapEx or any of the expenses during the operation, that would reduce the value of your investment too, right? So that's really important. And then also find a CPA who knows how to do the tax on real estate, because not every CPA knows how to use the best terms from IRS to make your, you know, keep your benefit on your investment. Yeah. So real estate attorney, and then also investors, capital partners, and also realtors too. When you just start, good real estate partner, especially the realtor, is really important, because a lot of people like to say, hey, I can make some cold calls to the owners of those properties. Yes, you can, but maybe that will make you or take longer for you to get your first deal. You know, time is money too. Time costs money too. So also time is the opportunity. The longer you wait doesn't mean better. Sometimes, yes, the longer you wait, you probably could get a better deal, but not always. For example, people get a deal in 2010, 2012, 2013. It's better than people get a deal in 2022, right? Like no matter what, on those years, which deal you get, you make money, a lot of money. But in the past couple of years, especially 2022, when the prices on the real estate got, I think it's kind of the peak. You don't make that much money anymore. So take your first step. It's so important. And get into the multifamily, and you will see the sky is higher. And you get, unlimited to your, I don't know, your future, your investment, and probably will explore more, and you maybe will become bigger too. Okay, get bigger returns with your same effort that you put on your flipping, and enjoy your life with more free time from the bigger scale. So, any other questions? Thank you for your question. You got a lot of great questions.
I know the question I had
Mm.
that Tom said it was a bad question.
No, it's not bad.
No, my question,
It's
but
just
you have a lot of property, right?
Mhm.
Let's say you're grading your property. This one's doing good. This one's not doing. You know your numbers, your benchmark. I think you said it was 5% for what the return on
the 5% I'm saying is like a lot of properties, a lot of deals that you find now this year, because the cash flow is not that high, just because the purchasing or the asking prices, they are higher now this year or
Uh-huh.
last year. And actually like a lot of expenses also increased a lot in the past couple years, even 3 years. And you know, it means that your investment, you put like, for example, 100K into an investment, the return you will get, it would be lower. In 2018, you still probably can find a lot of cash flow with maybe 8%, 10%. But now it's hard to find that kind of deal anymore.
But not necessarily buying, like the ones that you're managing.
Yeah.
What would the benchmark be that you're doing good on this property? What would your benchmark?
Well, right now, just because depending on like when we got into those deals, of course, the higher the better.
I know the higher the better.
Yeah,
Then
but-
what would you be like,
but-
okay, I did good in this property?
So, yeah, the higher, then you know you're doing good on those properties. But of course, those are the ones that we got earlier,
Uh-huh.
like 2017, 2018, 2019. And even some properties 2020, they are able to produce higher cash flow or return to our investment. But the properties in 2022, 2023 that we got, the cash flow is lower. Just because like in the last couple years, a lot of the market, we cannot increase the rent that much anymore.
Mm.
So
You're buying those in hopes of a value add or something, right? Or are you purchasing them just as,
yeah, but
is there any alternative interest that you purchase them at low cap rates?
yeah, like I think a lot of properties that were sold in 2022, 2023, the cap rate was a little bit lower, but before that they were higher. That means that your purchase prices were a little bit lower too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and right now the whole market cap rate is higher than before. So it means like, for example, if you were purchasing a property at a 5% cap rate in 2020, 22 or 23, now probably it's 6%. That means like the value of your property is lower, especially like in the last couple of years that the expenses increased a lot, like insurance, jack up a lot,
A lot.
property tax, and then payroll and all the expenses and material, everything increased a lot. Yes. So even you bring the income a little bit higher, still the value of your property is actually lower. And then also the interest rate right now,
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the interest rate actually can affect the market cap rate too, because when it's that high, if people still using the lower cap rate to purchase the property, they won't make money at all, and nobody would like to purchase that kind of cap rate anymore, just because the cost of the money is higher now.
So, was that the last slide?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, what are y'all looking for?
Right now,
I mean, you created this class, right? And
Yeah.
what are you,
what are we looking for to create some event like this? I think like we are trying to create, a networking environment, right? And then maybe in the future, who knows that we may be able to work together, right? So just like I just said, multifamily investment or some bigger real estate investment. It needs people, it needs more people to work together. Yeah.
we do have a property in that, that we're interested, that I own the land on,
Mm-hmm.
that we want to build an apartment complex.
Oh, you do? Where is it?
It's in Pearland
Okay,
and on the card, it has 7 acres.
okay.
And there's a building, or there's an apartment complex, a few blocks away, that was built in 2018 and they're doing well.
Yeah.
And I think Pearland is good, really good.
Mm.
So we've never built apartment.
Mm-hmm.
So we're looking to partner with the right person.
Yeah,
Because like you said, commercial multifamily is a teamwork of people.
yeah. It's hard to do it just on your own, right?
Well, we don't have the experience. Right now, when you bought your first property, they force you to they force you to have a property management company. We don't have experience. My experience, to the extent of my experience in multifamily is I've repaired, I would say, 3 apartment complexes that caught fire.
Mm-hmm.
So, in terms of contracting, I understand all the ins and outs of, contracting. And then if you have to file an insurance claim, I would, I would know every aspect of it. So, but I've never managed an apartment and I've never built ground up.
Yeah.
We're looking for partners.
Yeah, so I think on your case, probably you need to have your business plan first, like what you would like to do, how much fund do you need to build the apartments, right? You need to have all the
Yes.
budget.
You have someone who's gonna do the underwriting
Yeah,
and
So we have a
Land-
we have a pretty good plan. It's estimated maybe 13.5 million to
Okay.
develop.
how many units are you planning to do?
I think it was like 80 units.
80? Why only 80 on a 7-acre land?
Other people said, it could take more,
Yeah,
and we could take more. The reason why I came up with 80 was because the apartment complex that had 250, whatever units, they had 21 acres
okay,
and I have 7, so I just took the math.
okay,
But, yes, going through, we do have someone that's doing the other underwriting, and from input from other people, they're saying that we could build more. But
mhm.
just as an initial planning,
Yeah,
we're trying to build 80 at 13.5, and it's right now we're going through trying to get zoning
yeah.
for it. So
Yeah, I think you first get your zoning and then probably get the architectures to give you a better idea. I mean, of course, then you need to work with the city to see how many units that you can build. And because they also requires like a parking lot and everything that
yeah,
you need to put together. So you can see, you can have a better idea about how many units actually you can build. So I think that probably require you to have a better business plan. That's so, again, build your team.
yeah.
Yeah, you need to get all these people involved, or get an idea about the cost of each steps. And
Well, yes,
yeah,
we do have one person on the team that's doing the underwriting.
yeah,
We haven't gotten to that phase to where we've got rough numbers, but we
Yeah.
don't have exact numbers.
okay,
So, but
since this is like a networking class,
yeah.
is there like someone that you recommend in terms of like the earlier slot that you had in
Mm.
terms of CPA,
Mm.
real estate attorney, banker? Do you work a certain company that you
We-
recommend?
We do. We have couple CPAs, but they're more on just like the tax return. So for your case, I think you probably need more on like, I don't know, on the building side, especially on the bigger project. Right now, I don't have the network on that. Yeah, because we haven't done the bigger project on the new construction yet ourselves or develop ourselves yet. So we don't have that experience or we don't have the network on that part.
so y'all take, what is that? You're looking for LPs, right?
Yeah. So always, I mean, yes, for sure. Yeah. But like this year, even last year, a lot of people couldn't really find good deals or good project
Mhm.
just because the market is there. But it's always good to build the network and the investor base. Yeah, on your case too, if you're looking for partners, I think probably you need like somebody who can raise a fund for your project, and also they need to be experienced on developing.
The person doing the underwriting,
Yeah.
he has experience developing. So he's a developer.
Oh, he's a developer, okay,
What we don't have experience in is an operator.
okay, okay.
So someone like
We
you.
ourselves, we are learning too, I'll just show you the California. We are the GP on that part, and then, now we are building our experience on the new construction, and maybe we'll get more in the future. Just,
Well, in the
we are new
construction,
on this part, yeah.
the construction side, I have experience, and then the
Yeah.
other partner, he can develop.
Yeah,
He has more experience.
yeah,
So we both have construction experience.
yeah.
We don't have, asset management.
That's like,
Yeah.
we are doing that part ourselves.
Yeah,
We have a lot of experience on the multifamily asset management part, but on the new constructions that we just started from last year.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
But with the concrete walls or with, or
Oh,
with
we are
apartment?
building this one is a single family house.
Oh, okay.
And we like eventually we would like to be able to use the material to do the multifamily as well, but it still need to take a little bit longer for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, how expensive is the concrete walls?
Well, right now,
Is it manufactured offsite and then transported there, or is it?
so depends if we have like a bigger project, for example, if we have 50 house or 100, something like that, we can build our manufacturer just next to it, or just pick up a small piece of land over there. We can start producing, and then just when everything is finished, we can
Right.
dismiss our manufacturer or facility. But if there's some case that there's only one or two houses over there, then yeah, the walls will be produced in our facility, and we will deliver the walls to the on-site, and we will set up all the walls there. Yeah, multifamily, if you're going to build a 80 unit, 100 unit, or 200 unit, yeah, we can set up the, production line just like on-site, and then
Well,
build a multifamily there.
I'm afraid of how cost effective that would be. for
So
concrete.
on our actually right now the cost is, pretty similar to a little bit higher than the
Wood?
traditional wood structure, yeah. But we can reduce a lot of the labor and a lot of other steps because everything is already built. We just need to put all the walls together.
So in comparison, what would you say would be?
So
Slightly
on
more
the
expensive.
on the like finishing cost, I would say similar to the wood structure buildings, but then it's more durable, right? And then the maintenance will be lower because to maintain the wood structure,
Concrete, just,
yeah, will be higher. And then also it's a fire resistance, also flood resistance too. So your insurance will cost less, way much less than the
Did you-
traditional wood structure.
Did you define in terms of percentage wise, how much
Oh, yeah, the house that we were building right now,
versus,
give me-
let's say,
give me-
stick building?
yeah, let me show you.
Different.
Let me show you something, the house here. So we're building this house here. This is our location on the yellow, this one. And then the house just across the side there. Their insurance, last year, I think that we met our neighbor, September or October last year. When we were there, they just saw us there and then they were like, hey, can we come to check your site when we were building that? This one was like before we started more walls there. So we talked to them. Their insurance was 17,000 from the premium of 2024 to 2025. And before that, that was like 95,000 the year before. And of course, that was before the fire in South California. And just the insurance farmer, they just got approval of like to increase at least 7% on the insurance in California. That's the increase, the lowest. And we got a quote that's a premium of less than 3,200. So you see the cost, and in the multifamily area in Houston or even the whole Texas, a lot of area that close to ocean. In the last few years, the insurance increased a lot,
Right.
especially when those properties are the rental properties.
But what's,
The insurance is even higher.
what's the cost to build the wall is what I was saying.
It's similar to the, build a wall right now, it's slightly higher than the normal.
Stick build,
You
stick
mean-
frame.
No, steel frame is higher.
Oh, I'm sorry, but in terms of the concrete, it's
Yeah.
relatively the same price as building,
Similar like the wood.
really?
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
yeah. Our cost now is pretty good. Like when we start the massive
So
production.
why would anyone build it with wood?
Yes, that's a good
Go
question.
for it.
Just because that's
They're excited.
no, yeah. No, right now in California, actually on those area that they got burned down, they cannot build a work structure anymore. They cannot get the permits to build with the traditional work structure anymore. So our products provide the solution to California right now, that because it's more durable, and then the burning time, because right now local government, they require that the burning time of those buildings need to be at least 2 hours. Can the work structure like this, drywall, last for 2 hours in the fire? No, right? Our products can. So
But if
yes.
the demand goes up, then the pricing will.
I think if it's like, it's also about
Yeah, you should be able to sell the concrete house for more, a lot more than.
but for right now, we are trying to like keep it as, because the market is still small.
Yes,
We need to gain the market.
yeah.
Yeah. So that's right now. Yeah, in the future we could. Yeah.
Right now, you would, it was, yeah.
Yeah. Because you still need to gain the market first.
Do you see any opportunities where we could partner on our?
With our material, yeah. I mean, yes, like you plan to build with the traditional wood structure. I don't think we would like to do that. We prefer, like in the future, even ourselves, we will bring the material to Texas to build apartments. Because we see ourselves that in the past few years, we experienced hurricane, we
Right.
experienced the fire too. Just this year, we had two big fire on two our apartment complex that just burned down the whole building. One apartment complex we built, that building, we had 8 units.
Did you get it resolved in a good manner or?
Yeah.
Okay.
We were. But then just like this happened, it just happened so fast. Then even, one of our property, the fire department, it's just like, so the building is here, I would say, and then the fire department is just like cross, the fence of
Oh.
our property.
Wow.
And that 8 unit got burned down just in a couple hours.
8?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
Because the weather was so good.
Yeah.
The wind and everything was perfect for the fire. And then just like about less than 3 months later, we had another complex and another property that I don't know how that happened. People probably use candle during the night.
Yeah.
Everybody was sleeping and it burned, and we were happy that there was nobody got hurt.
Yeah. No one got hurt.
Yeah.
Did they max out on the policy for you?
Oh, yeah. I mean, pretty good. I mean, we had a pretty good, we don't need to because our insurance company is really good.
Oh, okay.
In 2020, we had a property that got hurricane hit 5 days after we closed the deal. 5 days. It was so bad, like all the roof and then sidings, everything got damaged, some of the HVAC too. And that time we had to use, they have their own, so we had to use an alternate. The public adjuster even couldn't get the amount that could cover the loss of the property. And we had to get an alternate involved, and because the damage was like over 2 million. That's what we got, we think the first, and the insurance, they were willing just to give $450,000. That's not even like 25% of the loss that we need to cover. So we had to get other people involved, but yeah, the insurance agent we have right now, they're really good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it depends, because right now, also now we are bigger, we have so many units.
Yeah.
And they carry you more than when we were in 2020, right? We were still super small then.
Well, did they end up paying you correctly? You got the attorney, right? Yeah.
Yeah, we did. So,
Yes, you do have to use an attorney.
yeah. So just depending on
Usually, when like our company does the construction, but we have to use a public adjuster, and the
Yeah.
public adjuster has a partnership with the attorney.
yeah,
So
yeah.
as soon as they can't get the money, the attorney will step in and do the.
Yeah.
But-
So different scenario, then you have to use different people involved. Yeah. Okay. Any other questions? Hello, Jen. No?
Insurance, for the like the fire, this disaster, so this is I'm not sure that's a standard item included in the insurance or when we buy.
Yeah. That's the property insurance that's
Mhm.
covered with your property insurance. And then also like on the insurance, if you have a rental property, I think the lenders or yourself, you would
Mhm.
like to get not just on the property insurance, but you want to have the general liability insurance as well. And you want to have your resident to have their rental insurance as well. So you want to have yourself covered as
Mhm.
much as possible. And on the insurance part, that if you have a loan, your lender will tell you what kind of insurance or what kind of coverage you have to have. Otherwise, you cannot get your mortgage. You're welcome. Thank you for the question. Annie, do you have a question?
I'm okay.
Okay, yeah.
I have one question. So if you change, you use different multi-unit structure. So for the installation, especially in the south like Houston area.
Yeah.
Actually, it's very hot,
Okay.
during summer. So for the installation, so.
Good question. So, I'll just see there. So you see there, this part here. Our wall, actually, we already built the insulation, the foam insulation between two pieces of concrete. So you have actually you already have the insulation to block the heat or cold or even the sound. Yeah. So when we use our wall here, you don't need to do any other insulation anymore. Yeah. It's already built in. Yes. Yeah. And just one piece. You don't need to worry about anything else. Yeah. So yeah, maybe next time we can find some other time frame.
Yeah, it's hard to consider how to think how the concrete can get.
Yeah, it's actually like, let me show you our video.
I think concrete has a better insulation factor than like
Then the real stuff.
Sure, let me see.
the R value, which is like insulation factor is better than concrete. It takes less energy for like the ACs to run.
Yeah, on our products, actually, you are able to like the energy from your you don't really need a lot of energy with the concrete. So on the houses we build, you actually just need a mini split. You don't need like actual central AC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't need as much energy in.
Yeah.
Output.
Where is your manufacturing site?
Our manufacturer, we will start in South California. Okay, let me see a picture here. So you see the foam here, right? When we have the massive production, like the layer here will be the concrete. And this is the insulation, the foam insulation here. And then we'll have another layer on top of it, the concrete. Yeah. So they like, Tom, you were asking about like we can build the facility like this and then just next to the,
Yeah.
you know, the area that we're going to have a bigger project, then we don't need to, you know, to worry about that. The production will be, for example, in California, then we'll need to deliver the walls and everything to Texas. So if we have a bigger enough project, we can build our facility or production line just next to the project. And then we provide the material, the walls to the project. And once it's done, we can just like take all our machines away. And
Fine.
yeah, I mean, it's like a little bit more flexible and especially for bigger project, but for smaller one, then we cannot do that. We have to produce them in our facility or even on site, like we can, but it will cost more. It will cost more because you need to have some people to do the, you know, the walls there on site, and it
Yeah.
takes labor and time, so it will cost higher.
Well, in California, it makes sense because
Yeah.
the houses are already so
Yeah.
expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the concrete would make sense because it's already a big investment for them.
Yeah. And then we also like on these houses that we're building, this one we're building right now, we will also add the solar panel that can produce enough electricity utility to the house itself, and we don't need to use any of the extra electricity from their electricity provider.
Yeah. It's concrete. is good.
Yeah. Okay. Unless everyone has some more questions, but the Joyce and me were going to build you know,
Yeah.
more
Yes.
or
Next
more
week.
events in the future.
Yeah.
I don't think like the time frame today is
Maybe
really good
we-
because maybe like
Maybe a weekend.
yeah,
or-
weekend evening that would be
Is this the
better.
first one?
Yeah, this is the
Next
first
week.
one here in Houston. Yeah, you are. Thank you for coming. I think we have like 12 people register on the like yeah online to come over, but probably they couldn't make it. We have a lot of people online. So the house that we're building in California is actually worth about 7 to 8 million. So the concrete can be built for the luxury houses too. And this is their general one products that the home that builds in Vegas.
Okay.
And yeah, so it's not like, hey, some people think about like, oh, can these products only build like some of the affordable housing that they don't require like too much
Right.
what is it called, characters in the houses? Actually, we can. And then the one that we're building right now in Laguna Hill, it's actually a custom built home. So the walls there that a lot of them that it's special,
Yeah.
like, yeah, special made.
I researched trying to build zero energy homes.
Yeah, that's what we are building right now, the net zero.
Zero, yeah.
Yeah, that's what we are building
You
right
have to
now.
have concrete because it keeps the
Yeah,
insulation.
yeah, exactly. So that's what we are doing right now. So hopefully yeah. Thank you so much
Well,
for
thank you.
coming.